Hello there, and welcome to this meta video. My name's Dan. I'm a bit of a Warhammer veteran. I like talking about Warhammer, and I'm in the habit of adjusting my chair. The first thing I do as soon as I press record. Anyway, let's have a look at the meta. My knee is not good today. It was okay over the weekend, but it seems to have gone backwards a little bit. I tried driving a little bit yesterday, and that seems to massively exacerbate it. So I'm back on the painkiller. I had some less painkillers yesterday, and it was okay. But today, back with a vengeance, I'm afraid. And anyway, I'm waffling on. Right, let's have a look at the meta. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to do the data first, and then people who are just interested in the data can go, and then we'll have a look at some lists. We've only had 3 tournaments that qualify for the data. Basically, what I want to see is at least 10 players and at least 60,000 points deployed throughout the tournament. So 60,000 sounds like a lot. It's actually not. It's basically 10 players, 3 games, 2,000 points. Because if there's 10 players and there's 2,000 points, that means there's 20,000 points per round, and that means over 3 games there's 60,000 points deployed. So, essentially, if you've only got a 1,500 point tournament, that means that you just need more people entering. Or more games, like 10 players, 5 games, 1,500. That would do. What would that be? That would be 10, 15, 75,000 points. Yeah. So that would do. Okay, cool. But 10 players minimum. Essentially, what I'm looking for is are tournaments that are representative of different factions playing each other, and therefore representative of the overall meta. The reason you typically don't want smaller tournaments is, say for instance, there's 8 players, 3 are Tomb Kings, 2 are Bretonians, 2 are Warriors of Chaos, and 1's like Demons or something. That's not going to be very representative of the overall meta. So that doesn't really comment as to how all factions are against all of the factions. Anyway, so this is the popularity chart. So the numbers next to the faction names are the number of entrants at tournaments. This is since the start of the year. I'm going to start doing some more time-bound data so we can see how stuff's changing over time once we get into July, because then we've got like 2 quarters of data. So we've got Q1 this year and Q2 this year. And then once Dwarves are released, I think then we can start to look at pre and post Arcane Journal. Like, does it really make a difference? Because we should have enough data before and afterwards. I suppose the main thing to say is that there's still not really enough data to draw any decent conclusions in terms of internal balance. However, there are enough results over everybody to suggest that the parametric tests that we're going to be looking at next are pretty reliable. So we're getting towards quite a low error term now. So we can quite confidently say stuff about the overall meta. However, we can't really examine internal balance yet. I do need to start adding sub-factions, actually, which it's just more work, really, because that's not really recorded on Best Coast Pairings very well. You have to actually look into the lists, which means looking into every single list to see what sub-faction they've taken, which is, if anybody, anything to do with Best Coast Pairings is watching, 2 things. First, please let me download tournament results as an Excel spreadsheet. It would be so much easier. Or just as a CSV, or just some kind of data download. I'm getting ChatGPT to sort it out in a table for me, so you don't have to reorder anything. So AI is good for something. However, it's not ideal, and it often doesn't do It's weird. It often doesn't, like, you've told it this is how I want the data reordering, and then sometimes it just does a different method for no reason. just decides to change as good as the rest. So anyway, so that's the popularity. This is more or less the same. You know, the big factions, the popular factions are Tomb Kings, Bretonia, Warriors of Chaos, and Orcs and Goblins. Dwarves and Empire are coming in. So Empire are quite popular, and that, you know, when we look at the data later on, that's pretty worrying. So the factions that aren't doing very well, they tend to not be very popular. So like Skaven, Ogres, Lizardmen, Dark Elves aren't doing great. So them being, you know, there's not a lot of results for them. So that's, you know, that's okay. It could just mean that people haven't worked out what's good, or that people haven't, like, got the models for the cool stuff. So they know what's good, but they just haven't got the models because nothing's released. Although, you know, Lizardman does surprise me because Seraphon exists and the models are all there. So you could build a Lizardman list quite easily, but they just don't seem to be very popular, which I just find absolutely bizarre. I mean, I've got a 2k Lizardman army. I need to add some Croxagore to it and a Slan, and then I shall try and find a tournament to take it to. But yeah, it's bizarre that they're not very popular, because I think they're quite good. But I mean, when I go to a tournament with them, I shall prove myself wrong and lose all the games and say, oh no, they're actually quite bad. Anyway, so this is win percentage. So this is a box and whisker plot chart. It's called other things, but so essentially the dot in the middle, which is the top of the bar, that's the win percentage, right? People don't get the win percentage, they get a range of results. So the whiskers, as it were, this is the normal range of results for that faction at a tournament. So at a 5-game tournament, for instance, with Beastmen, it's normal to get 2, 3, 4 wins at a 5-game tournament. Okay, if you're at a 3-game tournament, it's normal to get 1. 2 wins would put you 66%. So that's 2 or 3 wins is pretty normal for Beastmen. Getting 4 wins at a 5-game tournament is pretty normal for everybody down to Bretonia. So Bretonia through Beastmen, they've got more or less the same normalised results. Every other faction, you know, 1 or 2 at a 3-game tournament, well, that's one. The only faction where it's not normal to get 2 wins at a 3-game tournament is Skaven. Possibly Dark Elves. I'm not sure exactly what that figure is. That could just be below the 66% there. So it could be normal for just Skaven and Dark Elves to only win 1 at a 3-gamer. Winning like 2 or 3 games at a 5-game tournament is normal for all factions to do that. So that's okay. The worrying thing, though, for Skaven is that it's normal for them to not win a single game. That's a pretty normal result for Skaven, is to lose all their games. And that's not very pleasant overall meta-wise. Ogres, it's getting close to being normal for them not to win a game, and they really struggle to win any more than... And having taken them to a tournament myself, and, you know, it was a 3-game tournament, I managed 1 draw and 2 losses. You know, in actual fact... Had I known the rules a bit better, I probably would have won that first game. You know, tactically, I'd outclassed him. I just suffered some really bad rolls, which, you know, it's a dice game. It happens. You set everything up, and then everything panics and runs off the table. I think I had like 1,100 points run off the table. And given the tournament was a 1,750 point tournament, like that was like most of my cool stuff just ran off, which was excellent. But had that not happened, then I'd have definitely just wiped the floor with him. But hey, that's that these things happen, and that was because a Frost Lord on not a Frost Lord, Ogre Tyrant on Stonehorn decided to roll really badly against a unit champion who managed to get a wound back. I think I caused a wound or something, or 2 wounds or something like that. Combat was tied and he won by musician, and then I failed my break check. like outright failed. I rolled like an 11, and then to run away, I rolled 2 dice because I was close to the. I didn't use swift stride, and I think I rolled something like a 10 again, and that panicked a unit of Mornfang Cav, who then rolled like an 11 for their leadership, and then I rolled like a 5 and a 6 for fleeing, for falling back in good order or whatever, and they then went off the table, and that took another unit off the table as well through panic. So that's like 1,100 points just disappeared in like 6 rolls of. I managed to consistently roll like 11 on 2d6, I think about 6 times in a row, which, you know, I don't need to tell you is statistically quite unlikely. But anyway, aside from that, I think I'd have won that game. So anyway, but having taken ogres, I know that they're quite challenging to play with. They, you know, there's not a lot of models on the table. Everything's got high wounds, which is a challenge to play against in a sense. But once you've worked them out, then, or worked out how to deal with them, then you just beat them. They're not that difficult to beat. They've got some cool stuff, but, you know, fat boys are not that good. Empire being down here, though, I mean, so I think the thing that I'd point at here is that Empire are a supported faction, right? Skaven, Ogres, Lizardmen, Dark Elves, Demons are all part of the Legacy or the non-supported faction. So we've got Dwarven, Mountain Holds and Empire down here. The other factions that aren't supported, Vampire counts, is doing very, very well for an unsupported faction. The rest of them seem to be clustered down here, which is good in a sense, because Games Workshop are actively getting people to go for the supported factions rather than the more flavoursome ones. And I think the thing that I'd point at is that the stuff that's not doing very well just doesn't have good cavalry. Ogre Kingdoms do, actually. Mornfang Cav are like some of the best cavalry in the game. I'm doing some tier maker things soon, so I think I'm starting with heavy cavalry maybe later on today, actually. I can't remember when I've scheduled them to be released for, but I'm not doing a watch party sort of thing. I need to go to bed early nowadays because of my knee. I need to rest up. So anyway, yeah, Chaos Dwarves, they're the other non-supported faction. They're doing it insanely well, and that's because the rules for them are really well written, actually. The artillery options they've got are fantastic. The infantry options they've got are also fantastic. And there's a lot of cool synergies and a lot of cool rules that they have that allow them to be competitive, and they don't really need decent cavalry because everything else makes up for it. Dwarves, on the other hand, their infantry are great, but they can't extend their power. They can't like touch you from a distance, not really. Whereas like your Chaos Dwarves, you've got blunderbuss, shield, great weapon sort of infantry that is incredible at stand and shoot. Like, it just does so much damage when you charge them. And then they're pretty tough in combat. So your sort of core infantry choice for Chaos Dwarves is really, really strong. Whereas for Dwarven Mountain Holds, it's not really. You've got Ironbreakers who are they're okay, they're survivable, but they don't really dish out much. You've got Hammerers who dish out a lot of damage, but they're not as survivable as they could be. And also, like, Dwarves are so slow that without that reach, people aren't going to charge you. So you're not going to be able to use your Hammerers or your Ironbreakers unless you're like massively outnumbered and outflanked and whatever. So, like, it's very difficult to use or to wield dwarves properly. And also, we haven't seen a lot of gyrocopter spam. And when I say gyrocopter spam, you can only take 3 in an army, because you're limited to 0 to 3 because it's a special choice and that's like a tournament comp thing. So, but you do need those 3 to kind of to just corral units into your hammerers. But it's not the same as putting stuff on tracks like you had in, I believe, 8th, where you were able to use flying units to basically stop units from doing anything other than march directly forwards. So it's more difficult to corral units into your hammerers, but you can do it if you've got gyrocopters. You can get units to, and actually, out of all the missile weapons, it looks like clatter guns are the best. I think whichever one's got move and shoot, so then you can basically march and shoot. Move and shoot means march and shoot, doesn't mean move and shoot. Don't know why they did just call it march and anyway. So if they've got march and shoot, then you can move them like 18 inches and still fire with them, which is pretty good. So they don't hit very frequently though. That's the downside. But being able to anyway. So we haven't seen much by way of gyrocopter action. Cool. So that's the win percentage. Then if we look at the rank percentile, now just to explain what a rank percentile is, essentially if you win all your games you get 100%, if you lose all your games you get 0%, and sorry, if you finish first in a tournament you get 100%, if you finish last you get 0%, and if you finish exactly halfway up you get 50%. So if there are 11 people in a tournament and you finish 6th, which is exactly in the middle because 5 either side, then you would be on the 50th percentile in terms of your result. So I hope that kind of explains how the rank percentile works. This is ordered the same as the win percentage, and the reason for that is, and again we're looking at essentially like Beastmen Brayherds tend to finish top table, although it's pretty normal for them to finish like just above the bottom third, and it's pretty normal to them finish like on the podium. So that's kind of what this chart says for Beastmen, whereas Skaven, getting top half of is normal, but getting anywhere above like in the top third of players is very, very rare. Well, it's not very rare, it's quite rare. God, my knee is so painful. I don't know why today. It's very annoying. Anyway, so the point of doing this in the same order as the win percentage is essentially to look at, are there any kind of anomalous results? So we see here Lizardmen are pretty low in terms of win percentage, but they're actually pretty good at winning games. So basically what this is saying is that Lizardmen, when they win big, or perhaps it's saying when they lose, they don't lose by very much. So they're pretty good in tournaments, but their win percentage is quite low relative to other factions. Wood Elves, interestingly, they win more games than High Elves in general, but perform slightly worse in tournaments. And again, I'd put that down to High Elves having better cavalry. Chaos Dwarves, although they win quite a lot, they're not so good in tournaments. They seem to be more or less level with vampire counts, slightly ahead of Orcs and Goblins. And again, their cavalry options, essentially Swift Stride. What Swift Stride allows you to do is it allows you to, if you're winning a game, you can run down your opponent, and Swift Stride allows you to do that. Whereas if you've got a lot of slow stuff in those last 2 turns of the game, if you're not in position to do any damage by then, those units are basically wasted. So having like having cavalry which are fast and Swift Stride and all that kind of stuff really does allow you to get better results at tournaments. Oh, pardon me. Now, I say that, and then I look at Beastmen Brayherds who are doing really well on their own. Now, the reason I think that Beastmen Brayherds are doing really well is that there are a couple of really good synergies and a couple of really good like magic item combos that they have at their disposal. So like the Hag Tree Fetish, which is reroll wound rolls on magic missiles, is absolutely fantastic considering that they have a spell called Vile Tide, which does 5d6 strength 2 hits with no armor saves. So the strength 2 sounds a bit rubbish, but it's basically unlimited AP. It's like AP 6 basically. That's what no armor saves effectively means. It means AP 5, doesn't it? Because 2 up's the best armor save you can get. So strength 2 AP 5 is pretty good. Now, Hag Tree Fetish means you can re-roll wounds. So with your 5d6, you're likely to roll like 17, 18, for instance, and which means you're probably doing like 5 or 6 effectively mortal wounds with the Hag Tree Fetish. It's like 3 without, but it's like 5 or 6. And because you get to re-roll, you get those results that are much more... You're much more likely to get those results. In fact, you know, you're much more likely actually to spike one roll. So statistically, or in reality, as in what happens on the tabletop, you're not more likely to get like a really high result. But if you're rolling the dice twice, you can spike one of them, right? So if one of them, so for instance, if you rolled the first 18 and you got like 8 6s, for instance, and got really lucky, and then the 10 that you re-rolled you got none, you've got 2 spikes, one being good and one being bad. But that, do you see what I mean? So like you could like roll 18 and then roll like 1 6 and then be like, oh well, that's like really unlucky, and then you roll the 17 again and then you get another 7. So do you see what I mean? So because of how the game works, and it's a dice game, that re-roll is really, really super. So you end up with like more or less 6 to 8 effectively mortal wounds from this one spell that's a magic missile. So that's really good at like taking down dragons and stuff like that. So Beastmen have got answers to dragons, basically. They've got lots and lots of chariots as well that can do like high AP impact hits before you get the chance to strike. So, you know, Beastmen have got a lot of tools in their kit bag that aren't Swift Stride, and also they've got a really strong MSU game. Anyway, we might see that when we have a look at lists. This is the chart that I call the all or nothing chart, which is basically a comparison. So these percentages at the bottom are the percentages of people turning up to tournaments and who have won all their games. So Beastmen is 14% of Beastmen players who've turned up to tournaments have won every single game, and 10% have lost all their games. So if we look here, like Skaven, 38%, so basically 2 out of 5 Skaven players that have turned up to a tournament and have lost all their games, whereas actually 1 in 10. Now, in terms of the Skaven results, there's only like 30 players turned up, and that 10%, I think there's a chap in Canada who keeps winning all his games, and I'd love to see his list, to be honest, and I'd love to know how he's doing it, because I'd love to start Skaven again. You know, like 1 in 4 Ogre Kingdom players lose all their games. They lose all their games. So that's a pretty bad stat. 1 in 5 Empire players. Now, remember going back to the start, how many people were turning up with Empire? You know, it's quite a lot, 95, so 1 in 5, so that's 19 Empire players have turned up to a tournament and not won a single game. You know, compared with 13 players out of 131 Tomb King players. So, like, more... Do you see what I mean in terms of, like, how the factions are doing at tournaments? Whereas this 14%, that's quite high. Vampire counts, it's 14% lose all their games, but again 15% win all their games, and I think that is the highest. So that suggests that there's something with Beastmen, there's something with Vampire counts that's maybe slightly overpowered, and we don't know. I'm not sure exactly what it is in Beastmen. Kingdom of Bretonia, 13% winning all their games. That's quite high as well. So we see these factions down here where like there's more people winning all their games than losing all their games. Like Dark Elves, there's nobody's taken Dark Elves to a tournament and won all their games. Like that's just not happened yet. That's we're waiting for that to happen. But losing all their games, every faction's got at least some. Ideally, you want all of this as like a 50%, and that shows that the factions are quite balanced. But I think. Yeah, it looks really bad for some factions because of how I've arranged this chart. But Vampire counts 15%, so that's more or less 1 in 6 players has won all their games. So if you look at the numbers, vampires are actually relatively popular. I think. Yeah. They've got 6% of the meta, as it were. So 1 in 6. How many is that? That's like 13. I think 13 players. More or less have won all their games out of 80, which is pretty incredible, really. So vampires are obviously doing quite well. And then this is a ranking chart. This shows essentially. This is calculated quantitatively. So essentially, if a faction is good at tournaments and good at winning games, then it gets S. If it's good at either tournaments or winning games, but average in one or of the others, then it gets A. If it's average at both, then it gets B. And if it's below average at one of those two criteria, then it's D. And if it's below average at both, then it gets E. So E are essentially the sort of the god tier difficulty factions. So you're taking Dark Elves, Empire, Ogres, Skaven. This is over the cumulative rank. This was in May. What was going on in terms of like rankings of the meta? I've ordered it here as per their score, but you know, so you can see that actually over May, Beastmen were pretty average in May. Bretonnia were pretty average in May, although over the first quarter, Beastmen are still S tier, Bretonia's A tier. So Bretonia's cumulative rank S, you know, that's good, but that's over. It didn't happen in Q1, so it didn't happen in May, so that would suggest that April was pretty good for Bretonia, which has brought the overall cumulative up, and it could be that June's quite good. So we'll update this and this actually at the end of the month because we'll be into Q3. So we'll have better data, more recent data here, but that's not this chart hasn't changed for a few weeks, to be honest. So the meta is sort of stable at least. So that's all the stats. So if you're just here for the stats, thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, all that stuff if you like. Up to you. I'm not bothered. Now we're going to look at some lists. So toodaloo, everybody who's only interested in stats and don't want to look at lists. Right, so, and tournaments and stuff. So here we have the Old World Tournament SBS at XPG, which was Canada, I think. It wasn't at Floors Direct. I'm pretty certain it wasn't at Floors Direct. Oh, have we been here before? We have had a look at this venue before, haven't we? Where the hell was it? I can't remember. Again, I really like these kind of industrial estates where there's lots and lots of like space. Chartered accountant there. I think I probably chartered accountant there as well. Is it the same one? Yeah, it is. It'd just be weird, wouldn't it? I bet it's over there somewhere, isn't it? It's one of these. Is it high? Down and under? Do you know what? I don't know. But it says it was like around here somewhere. Maybe it's over there. That looks like a... Anyway, this looks like quite a nice industrial estate. But it's somewhere here on this industrial estate. It's a 2,000 point tournament. There were not that many entrants, 10, so pretty much the bare minimum. Skaven coming bottom again, as usual. Eric Locke. There's lots of Vampire Counts. 1, 2, 3 Vampire Counts players. And Val Heffelfinger of the Square Base podcast. So let's have a look at his list and laugh at him. He's taken Empire. So actually he's done really well just to get one win, actually. I know it's normal for Empire to get one win, but still... you know, there's quite a lot of off-meta picks here, actually, isn't there? There's only one. There's no Beastman. There's a couple of Khemri, which is interesting. Christian managed to win, so well done, Christian. Brandon Damer, well done for coming second. And William Gibbons with his Chaos Dwarves came in third. So, Servants of Hashut. We have a Sorcerer Prophet on a Bale Taurus, obviously, with a Ruby Ring of Ruin. That's not so obvious. You probably... I don't know why you do that, because elementalism. I mean, that's not got a massive amount of damage output. He's got a Taruk. He's got an Infernal Seneschal. He's got some Infernal Guard and some more Infernal Guard and some more Infernal Guard. So he's got 2 with blunderbusses. These are detachments around the main unit of Infernal Guard. So that's an interesting setup. So basically these 2 can stand and shoot when this one gets charged. Then he's got some Hobgoblin Cutthroats. That's not the cavalry, so you don't need the Hobgoblin hero for them, do you? He's got 4 of those units, so it must be a 6-unit limit for core choices. He's then got some renders, who are pretty good, actually, for the points. They're okay. And then he's got some Death Shrieker rocket launchers. So, you know, there's no land train, whatever the hell it's called for Chaos Dwarves, which you do see quite frequently. Iron Demon, that's what it's called, sorry. Because the Iron Demon is quite good. So there's none of that, which is quite interesting. But he's got more Bull Centaurs and a Taruk to lead them out. So that's quite an interesting list. He's got a bit of cavalry there. He's got a bit of Swift Stride going on over here. He's got some Death Shrieker rocket launchers are pretty decent in terms of their output. And then he's got a lot of cutthroats, probably just to get in the way and just like try and control the table a bit to allow shooting to do a bit more damage before they manage to close with the Infernal Guard. And he's got a standard bearer with the Overseer's Sigil. So standard bearer with the Overseer's Sigil, which I don't know what that does, to be honest. I wonder what that's for. Standard bearer with the Overseer's Sigil. Friendly units lose the levies special rule. Friendly units lose the levies special rule. So that means that the hobgoblins, if they stay near this unit, they can use the Sorcerer Lords. And there's a Lamasu's Beard, Infernal. I bet that one goes in that unit as well, doesn't it? Lamasu's Beard, 6 at ward, magic resist 2. Friendly units have 5 at ward against shooting phase and magic resist 1 within 6 inches. Presumably that means the unit that it's in has a 6 at ward in combat, 5 at ward against shooting, magic resist 2, and units within 6 just get the 5 at ward shooting and magic resist 1. That's pretty decent, actually, I think. Maybe? I don't know. Well, obviously, William Bill used it to great effect. But yeah, that's an interesting set of stuff. Personally, I'd probably swap the Talisman of Protection and the Ruby Ring of Ruin round, and get rid of the Charm Shield, because Sorcerer, I don't think he can take a Charm Shield, can he? Because he can't take armor. He can't actually take a shield, because in order to take a magic version of something, you've got to be able to take the mundane version of it. So he's not allowed. Yeah, he is allowed armor because they have, what's it called, Black Shard armor. So they're allowed to take armor. So any armor, they can cast through armor basically because the Chaos Dwarves. But he can't take a shield, so he can't actually have the Charmed Shield. And the Vial of Lamasu Blood, I think that's like a heal or something, isn't it? I can't remember. My knee. Where's the Vial of Lamasu? There it is. It's a Dispel Scroll, an old-fashioned Dispel Scroll. That's pretty useful, actually. Yeah, I agree with Vial. I would put a Talisman of Protection on, drop the Charm Shield, put the Ruby Ring on the Tauruk. So the Tauruk, as it's popping around with its Bull Centaur renders, if it doesn't manage to get a charge off, it can do a bit of damage. And also it doesn't count as shooting. So like, God, pardon me. But then you want it in combat, don't you? So it's probably going to be in... Yeah, I've changed my mind. It's probably going to be in this unit of 3. That's probably the right way round, although I'd like to get a better ward on the Sorcerer Prophet if possible. I mean, yeah, he's toughness 6 and like 8 wounds, which is pretty good, but still, that improvements could be made. I'd be interested, again, if you're listening, and this is you I'm talking about, please comment down below. I tend to reply to everything, maybe not immediately, but I try to reply to everything. So, if you disagree with me, I'm more than happy to be wrong. Love being proved wrong. Anyway, so this is Brandon Damer, who I think came second, didn't he, with Tomb Kings. He got absolutely tabled in his second game. Who the hell tabled him? Christian, the winner. No, he didn't get absolutely tabled. He managed to not kill anything, and then the Vampire Counts managed to get 1,500 points of Tomb Kings dead. That's interesting. So, Was it? Oh, there's more for general and stuff, isn't there? So there's probably like 1,400. Anyways, shut up, Dan. Look at the list. So we've got Armour of Ages, Tomb King, Dragon, Flail of Skulls. That's a pretty standard loadout for a Tomb King on a Dragon. I think that's. Actually, I've given poison attacks to mine, but I mean that's pretty standard. I mean, yeah, I know the high strength, but it just means that you don't have to roll dice, obviously. Then we've got High Priest, level 4, on foot with the Cloak of Dunes, which is smart because the Cloak of the Dunes is... Now, the Cloak of Dunes, I reckon, because I've opened this thing instead of the other thing, will be in the Arcane Wasn't. Where's the Cloak of Dunes? It's... Oh, no, it's here. Fly 9, and... if it moves over a unit, D6 Strength 2, AP 1. So, it's not terrible. It's got a little bit of output there from just moving over stuff, so that could be useful for killing screens. That's actually quite a decent artifact, isn't it, really, thinking about it? And he's got the Hieratic Jar, which allows him to res twice, I think. Res twice. Just single use, though. Unlike the vampire counts, who have one that's the same cost, and you can use it every turn. It might wound you, but who cares? You're going to get those back. The High Priest here has to. He can only do that once per game, but it's not like Khemri need any help. They're doing quite well. He's got some warriors, he's got some tomb guards, he's got some chariots, he's got some... He hasn't got any skirmishers, which is interesting, or horse archer skellies. Typically, if you're taking chariots, you want the horse archer skellies, because they can go in front and chariots can charge through them. They can see through them and charge through them, because they've got that chariot runner special rule, which is pretty good. Yeah. And he's got... Ushabti with bows, which seems to be an auto-include in Khemri at the moment. I haven't seen a Khemri list for a very long time without Ushabti with bows. Necropolis Knights, they're quite rare. You don't tend to see them a lot. I mean, I think they're okay for their points, because they're not expensive. They're multi-wounds and, do a decent amount of output. Especially, it's just a standard Tomb King list, isn't it? And he's got a Colossus, Necrosphinx, and a Casket. I mean, that's okay. I prefer the Screaming Skull catapults for the leadership debuffs, but, whatever. That's pretty good. Yep, well done, Brandon, for coming in second. Now, Val, what did you take? He took Empire Knights with Drilled. Why? Yeah, I mean, I guess that's okay. Empire Knights, I just think they're awful. Like, what you want with your core is like loads of archers, loads of handgunners, loads of small units of missile troops, just to get in the way and stop your opponent being able to get at this stuff. This is good. Like, this bit, absolutely bang on. I'm not sure about the mortars, to be honest. And again, I'm not massively sure about the Outriders. I think getting rid of that and getting some Demigryph Knights in would be good, because then you've got something with countercharge and multiple wounds and decent saves, and pretty strong mounts and. So Demigryph Knights are pretty good. So getting rid of this stuff and getting in some Demigryph Knights. 3 great cannons can kill pretty much anything in one turn of shooting, so that's pretty good. But that's why you need an awful lot of other, like, you need the Free Guild Company, things. So you got these scouting skirmishers here. You've got, other bits and bobs, handgunners and Free Company and just MSU shooty bits. Really makes sense for your core choice. There is an argument for halberdiers as well. Because if you've got a lot of MSU screens, you can then use them to ensure that your halberdiers get a charge off. But, whatever. And again, if you've got, like, some Demigryph Knights, you could then take a Grandmaster and, like, put him on a Demigryph. And then you've got a really, really thumpy block of stuff. And level 4 Wizard Lord is sensible. Engineer, 3 of them, absolutely perfect. If you've got all this stuff, you need them really for the Hellblasters to increase the reliability of them. And yeah, it's just a pity about the points of like the steam tank, because the steam tank's 265, isn't it? So you can't take 2 Hellblasters and a steam tank for your rare allocation, which is so rubbish. Like, Empire desperately need their arcane journal, to be honest. And what I'd really like to see is, because of how they've been described on like the map of the old world, and in fact, I'll see if I can find the new AOS. Yeah, I don't care. Explore our games. Oh, bugger off. Where's the bloody... Ugh. Where's... I thought they had, like... Can I get a taste of Warhammer for free? Of course you can. Go into your local shop and then they will sell you loads of stuff. Well, they will sell you a starter box of... Where's the bloody... They used to have, like, dedicated sites for each game, didn't they? What is... This is another microsite for... Oh, my God. Like, why have they changed the bloody thing? Where's the microsite for all the things? Let's get started. Is that like a new... Where's the... Oh, for God's sakes. There was like the old world Warhammer microsite. See if I can find it. Still there. They've just not. They just removed the links to it for some idiots. Right. Oh no. Is this the actual? This is the web. This is the shop, isn't it? It's not still there. Where is it then? Is it that? I'm looking for the one with the bloody interactive map. Aha! Here we go. Right, go away. Return to the world legend. There's some trailers and stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Where's the map gone? Here's the map. Right. This is what I was talking about. Oh, God. Here. Grand Duchy of Talarbek. Harbouring numerous witches, warlocks, and secretive guilds. So... That to me is pretty exciting. Like really weird, interesting war bands, you know, some like hedge witches and stuff like that, and some like, you know, extra magic-y sort of stuff. I think that is a pretty cool like sub-faction, because that's something we've not really seen before with the Empire. You know, Osterlund and Westerland is, you know, pretty standard Empire-y stuff. Reichland, of course, is pretty standard Empire type stuff. Marienburg is here, but not as developed as it is in the old world. And then one thing I think is quite cool, although there's not much about it, is Nuln is its own city-state. So Nuln is its own, like, you know, it's a bit like Vatican City. It's just Nuln is just a city all on its own. It's not part of Wissenland or Sudetenland or Averland or Stierland. It's its own thing. But anyway, yeah. So I'd really like that to be a thing for Empire. But anyway, Empire need their book. They need their book more than anything. Go away, you tab. Right. So that's Val's stuff. Oh no, I didn't want to click on that. Who did he play? Who did he manage to beat? He managed to beat Richard Clark, who was Skaven. Oh, Val. Meanie monkey. Like tabling the Skaven bloke. Oh no, it's not a great list, is it? Where are the weapon teams? Rattling gun. Warp fire, come on, triple rattling guns, damn it. I mean, clan rats are just a rattling gun delivery mechanism, right? So you don't give them any upgrades, just take 20 of them and stick a rattling gun on it. Seriously, that's what clan rats are for. You know, so 3 units of dirt cheap clan rats with rattling guns, that'll do. Storm vermin are okay. Fang leader with a cautious shield is hilarious. So basically, if he's in a challenge, No, instead of attacking normally, he can use 2 hands. It's a shield, but he could just use 2 hands on his shield and then get +3 to his save or something ridiculous. So you end up with a Fang Leader with like a 2-up save. Which is hilarious. Gisele's... it's not a terrible list. Doom Wheels are rubbish. Although, Richard, if you're listening and Doom Wheels are actually really good, let me know, because I look at them on the rules and I just can't work out how they're good. And then Christian Yurimai. It's probably pronounced something Americanized, isn't it? Christian Jirima or something. I don't know. Anyway, apologies if any of that is a total butchery of your name. So we've got a vampire count who's a level 1 wizard, no armor. Well done. On a zombie dragon with a 5-up ward, and he's got a 5-up regen, I think, because he's a vampire count, and then he's got a 4-up save because zombie dragon's got a full plate. He's got the biting blade, which gives him armor bane 2, I think, or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's it'll be in this thing somewhere. Oh, what the hell's the biting blade? Why does the scroll down not work with this? Where's magic weapons? I don't know why I'm doing that weird thing with a voice. I apologise and I shall stop it. Right, magic weapons. Biting blade, AP2, armor bane 1. I knew it was something like that. Right, so, which actually, on a high strength character, that's not terrible. Plus it gives him magical attacks because he doesn't have it inbuilt, so you know that can be useful. And I guess like illusion doing 2d6, he's probably hoping for spectral doppelganger. So, but then again, he can do 2d6 hits with the zombie dragon strength 6 AP2 claws. So that's probably what he's going for. Then you got a Master Necromancer to do res stuff, but it's the general and it's on a Mortis engine. So this really is very lucky it didn't come. In fact, did he end up playing Val? Because if he played Val and won, he deserves the tournament. Definitely hands. He didn't, right? Because if Val had played this list, then that Master Necromancer would have been shot to Kingdom Come. Pretty much turn 1. It would just be, that's more or less insta dead, and then the whole army crumbles. Apart from the vampires, actually, because vampires don't crumble. He's got some blood knights actually. So even if the general dies, he's still got 5 bloodgeists, some vargeists, and the vampire count that won't crumble. Everything else probably will, but these guys won't. So that's pretty good. He's got a BSB, which is actually really sensible because it allows you to re-roll leadership tests. So it basically turns everything into veteran around it, which I think is just amazing for a BSB. It's the same with Khemri. Absolutely fantastic. Considering like the resurrection ability is a leadership test, and lots of their abilities in the command phase come from leadership tests. So there's lots of like prayer type. So basically in the old world, you've got like prayers, which are a leadership check, and then spells, which are, you know, normal casting rolls. Whereas something like in AOS, they've turned prayers into, you just roll a dice, and on a result, the prayer either comes off or it doesn't. But I think they're adding a bit of interactivity with prayers going forwards, aren't they? But like, I don't care. Like, I quite like the leadership check mechanic because there are ways to get people's leadership down if you really want to. Anyway, so that was that tournament. So well done, Christian. Fantastic results. You know, he's not got a broken list. It's actually just a pretty decent, solid vampire counts list. So he's done well. He's done well to win with that, to be honest. So well done. So this one, Mythicos Studios inaugural Old World event. They just record 1 for win and 0 for loss. So I'm really not sure. Oh, that's the rules. So what are the rules of this particular tournament? Mythicos Studios. Here we go. Telling you what scenery you've got. Do not move the scenery. Play with the most wins will be the winner. Victory points. Yeah. I guess. Event scoring. Yeah. Yeah. What's it got about winning a game? I think it's just so you just need 1 point more. So there's no draws. All the tournaments this weekend there've been no draws, which I find a bit like weird. But you know, cool. So this took place in New Jersey at Mythicos Studios, which some people don't like. Oh, this one you can't. I've tried to have a look at this before. You just can't see it because it's like it's hidden somewhere. Is it? Or is it? No, it's there. It's there. No, we did look at this before. Oh, this is the one with the... oh. Or have we not looked at this before? Can't remember. But yeah, anyway, it's there. Which looks like a nice-ish venue. There seems to be plenty of parking. Bit of food down there. And some lovely ads for... whatever the hell that is. Real estate conference. Great. That sounds thrilling. You want to buy a house and put some tenants in it, and you can get an aquarium, some frames, some gifts. Mythicos Minis is there. Mythicos Store, Mythicos Studios. I wonder what this Mythicos thing is. That looks quite interesting, actually. They seem to have a interesting business plan. Landscaping. Is there actually any food here? Exit connections. What's that? Affordable shipping. Candies. Okay, so you can get cake, but you can't have any other food. Anyway, sorry. Some people don't like me doing that, so I try to limit it. I just really enjoy looking at where people are. So, 14 people turned up. Dwarfs and Lizardmen didn't win a single game. I suspect... Actually, no, I think that's probably about right. Let's have a look at Lizardmen, because I'm building my list at the moment. Lots of Tomb Kings at this tournament. Lots of Tomb Kings and lots of Bretonia. But Phil managed to win, which is good for Phil. Egbert Stolk came in second, and Simon Herfrey with Warriors of Chaos came in third. So let's have a look at the Warriors of Chaos. 2,000 points, General, Lord, Dragon, blah, 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 Ogre Blade, Favour of the Gods, Mark of Nurgle. Fair enough. Reroll 6s to hit is pretty good. He's got a 5-up ward inbuilt anyway. And he's got the Ogre Blade, which is like more or less a great weapon without strikes last, single-handed, and you know it's the good one from the book. 65 points. You know, strength. So it's basically a great weapon. So strength 7, AP 2 with armor bay 1, and then more importantly, multiple wounds D3. So that's pretty nasty. And then he's got a Sorcerer Lord level 4, which is on a chariot, which I think is pretty sensible, actually. That's how I'm building out my Sorcerer Lord at the moment. I just need to make the model. He's got a big block of Forsaken. You normally see this as MSU. Forsaken by Khorne means hatred everything. But yeah, a big block of 20 of them is quite interesting. 2 units of Throwing Spear Marauder Horse. Are these... No, these are undivided, which makes sense. Yeah, and then we've got some Dragon Ogres. Just two times Dragon Ogres. So that's 266, 538. Yeah, so he's got 2 3-man units of Dragon Ogres, both with a Shartak. And that makes his special stuff, no rare. So, yeah, that's an interesting list. And I don't typically like big blocks of Dragon Ogres. I quite like single Shartaks. But anyway, Simon's obviously done very well. He managed to win a couple of games with that list. He lost his first game. Who did he lose his first game to? He's played his first game against the Bretonian player who came second, who lost to the guy who won. So Egbert with his Bretonians, he's got the Green Knight. Yep, good. Green Knight's pretty good. Some people have been saying that he's been banned from some tournaments because he's too powerful. Like, I really don't see that. I think, you know, if somebody uses him really well, he can be quite good. But, like, he's pretty situational, and because you need natural terrain features. And if your opponent knows how he comes on the table, they're going to steer clear of the natural terrain features, right? Or they're at least going to face them, so you're not going to be flanked by a green knight. You got a Duke on a Royal Pegasus, so he can charge 360. He's got the Gromrel Great Helm, so he's up to a 2-up save. He's got the Virtue of Heroism, so he's killing below Monster Slayer. It's that build, pretty sensible. He's got a level 4 Wizard, who's a Prophetess with a prayer icon of Kenel and the Ruby Ring of Ruin. A Kenel, by the way, is a small spoon of like butter, or, you know, a quenelle, they often call it. So it's a thing that you eat. That's not to say there's not a place in the world called Kenel, which might be where the Kenel, as in the food item, was invented. And I don't know why I'm telling you that. I just seem to be filling time whilst I find out what the prayer icon of Kenel actually bloody does. So, magic items, it's an arcane item, isn't it? I think. Yeah. Dispel range increased by 3 and +1 to dispel. So he's gone a bit defensive with it. Okay. He's got the free BSB. Well, the BSB upgrade is free. He hasn't got the Falcon Horn of Fredemund, which I think is like the best item in the game. And he managed to lose against Phil Carl. Now, anyway, let's just have a quick look at what else he's got. He's got a big unit of 10. I think units of 10 knights is the way forward with Bretonnians. I think small units of knights, now that they've basically nerfed the lance formation so that it's fundamentally useless, I think 2x5 blocks of knights is the way to go. Peg knights are like possibly the best unit in the game, so you want more than like 4 of them, to be honest. You know, ideally 3 units of 5. But, like, you know, whatever. Grail Knights are very, very, very good, though. They're not quite as good as Pegasus Knights, but they are still very, very good. Oh, no, he has got the Falcon Horn of Fredemund here with the Grail Knights. Sound. Absolutely sound. Yeah. That's actually a really good idea. That is a really good idea. Egbert, I am sealing that idea. Grail Knights with the Falcon Horn in absolutely makes sense. Yeah. Love it. Love it. That's really smart. Why don't I think of these things? Because the reason that's really smart, right, is that any of these Grail Knights can accept a challenge, right? So if somebody's trying to challenge out they can't just challenge out the Grail Guardian to get the Falcon Horn. They've got to, like, challenge all the rest of them. So literally you can ensure that the Grail Guardians, well, not ensure, but you can come close to ensuring that the champion is the last one to die. So you get to use that, you know, loads. And also, like, people aren't going to be targeting your Grail Knights because they've got the Pegasus Knights to worry about, they've got this Duke to worry about, they've got the Green Knight to worry about, and then they've got these massive blocks of Knights which are going to be in their face pretty much straight away. So, yeah, that's a pretty decent list. Arguably, he's sacrificing another unit of Pegasus Knights for the Green Knight. Maybe. Because he's paid his core tax. He's got some Grail Knights that are expensive. Where else could he cut points, really? Apart from getting rid of the Prophetess. But getting rid of the Prophetess for another unit of Pegasus Knights, I mean, it wouldn't be a terrible... Anyway, yeah, so that's yeah, maximising Pegasus Knights is, I think, the answer to Bretonnia. This is the Lisbon list that didn't do very well. So he's got an Old Blood Uncarnosaur with a Dragon Slaying Sword. I mean, doesn't need it. Like, the Old Blood Uncarnosaur, the Carnosaur is a monster killer, right? It's got high AP, lots of attacks that are high AP, multiple wound D3, really, really, really nasty for killing other monsters is the Carnosaur. That's what the Carnosaur is built for. The Old Blood on top is basically a protection, you know, so talisman of protection and stuff like that. That's what the Old Blood delivers, really. He's got a Slan Mage Priest, which is great. I mean, weirdly, with my Slan, I'm trying to build out my list. I can't work out what to give it. Like, or how to maximise on what the Slann can offer. Because it doesn't have that many really cool special rules itself, so it's got like no weird casting sort. Because you'd expect, right, a Slann to be there to be something about the Slann that makes them good at magic, like, or better than other things, because they're basically the old ones, aren't they? Or whatever. Don't quote me on that. The lore masters will have a fit. But you know, it's got Arcane Shield, which is a 5 at ward, which is all right. It's got 5 wounds, toughness 4, which isn't terrible for a level 4 wizard. You know, it's got Fly 8, so it's pretty manoeuvrable. But like, it's a large target though, so it's like it's easy to hit. Like, it's just I don't understand why it's a large target. I know the models are, the new models are, but the old ones aren't. They don't look, you know. I think you can give it one of these disciples of the old ones, but like ethereal. I mean, I guess because it's a large target, so it stops cannons from hurting it. Maybe. I mean, becoming cogitations sort of useful. Wandering deliberations. I keep looking at that and trying to work out, you know, which 4 signature spells I take and whether that's really any good. And Regen 5, you know, it's got a 5 at ward, so giving it a 5 at regen, that's not a terrible idea as well. You know, give it a bit more defense. Magic resist minus D3, roll D3 before armies are deployed. Terror, modify miscast. I mean, the only one I'd probably take is Transcendent Healing, but like, it's just they're so difficult to me. It's difficult to work out what's actually going to work. Decent sized block of Saurus Warriors with thrusting spears. Decent sized block of Temple Guard with halberds. Some Chameleon Skinks who are vaguely useful. He's got an Ancient Stegodon with an Engine of the Gods, which is okay. And he's got a Troglodon, which allows you to cast spells by the Slann through the Troglodon. But like, Troglodons are not great in general. So yeah, I can see that list struggling. Yeah, he does have the Ruby Ring of Ruin though, which is smart. Anyway, Phil Carl managed to win with this list. So he's got a dragon. He's got a double dragon. So even with the Falconhorn of Fredemund, he managed to win with a double dragon, which is quite incredible. Actually, he's obviously played an absolute blinder there, because Bone Dragon's got movement 6. You know, it's got fly 9, but because it's got a massive base, moving it around with just 6-inch move, that's more or less just one wheel. So, you know, that's a real achievement. That is a real achievement. And he can't march with it. I suppose he can reserve move it probably, but still, it's very slow going for something with that big a base to unless they have fly X and choose to move by flying, right? So they can march if they fly and choose to move by flying, right? Which is important, because if you got the Falconhorn, you turn off flying, so it can't march now. And remember, and this is why people like the Necrosphinx, because the Necrosphinx also has fly, so can be very manoeuvrable because it can march because it's got fly. Annoyingly. Oh, sorry, my leg. It's just a little rictus of pain that's just erupted for some reason. Right, so that's the Tomb Kings of Khemri for Phil. So well done, Phil, for winning that tournament. And there seems to be 3 war dollies, all of which came next to each other, which is quite cool. Keeping together at the middle of the pack. Well done. Didn't Matt Macchiaroli do quite well the last time we did one here? Can't remember. Right, and then we have the final tournament that's happened at the weekend, which is the Old World Rank and File June tourney, which took place in California. Yeah, it did. Somewhere here. Calvary Bible Church. What the hell's one of them? I'm not religious. I don't get any of it, really. Well, I guess it was somewhere here. In one of these places. I can't see any Warhammers anywhere, which is normally a bit of a giveaway. You normally see like a Space Marine in the window. And that's normally the signal to say Warhammer is in here. But this is not. No. Anyway, well, it was somewhere around there anyway. Cool. So let's have a look at some lists. So Tomb Kings won again. Nicholas Scalaris, that's 2 for Tomb Kings and 1 for Vampire Counts. It's all the bloody undead, isn't it? Aaron Joseph came second with Beastman. Aaron Vecker came third with the Empire. So well done, Aaron. Excellent result. And Warriors of Chaos coming in last. That's quite rare as well. So let's have a look at Eric Swanson's commiserations for your wooden spoon. You have a Lord on a Gorbeast chariot. Okay, that's not a great idea. I mean, the model's cool, but you know, it's not that. Yeah, don't do that. Put it on a dragon or on a steed, right? One of the two. A dragon to be its own thing and a steed to go in some chosen, right? And then, you know, you make a super killer unit of chosen by whacking that chap in your chosen unit. And then we've got a Sorcerer Lord, which is level 4 on foot with a brazen collar. It doesn't need magic resistance, really. Because if something's being cast at it, it's got a chance to dispel. It's got Infernal Puppet, Enchanting Aura. Okay. And Demonology. So it's on foot with a Mark of Nurgle. What unit is it going in? Are these Mark of Nurgle? Right. So you've got 2 ranks of 7 chosen. They've got drilled. And the Banner of Rage. Banner of Rage is good. But it does mean that this Sorcerer Lord is going to be in combat quite frequently. And actually, the Nurgle spell is pretty good. It remains in play. And the unit's +1 toughness. So presumably what he's trying to do is get these up to toughness 5. And you've got to reroll 6s to hit against them. So that's pretty good as an overall. The problem is, like... no, actually, that's a sensible idea. That makes sense. But the problem is that the Sorcerer Lord's going to be in combat quite a lot, which you lose the benefit of the level 4 being around because you can't dispel stuff when you're in combat. So, you know, you don't really want this guy to be in combat if you can help it. The Marauders of Khorne are... That's a lot of points, actually, for something that's not really going to last very long. They don't have a ward. They've got hand weapons and light armor, no shield, so they've just got a 6-up save, no ward, toughness 3. Like, they're just gonna, you know, a unit of knights could get rid of that. It's got a couple of warhounds, again, which you need to get in the way of the knights because he's given the Mark of Khorne. This is a great little pick, actually. You don't want too many of it, though. Just one of that will do, to be honest. And he's got some ogres, which aren't good. And he's given them Khorne, which means he's lost control of them. Everything's got frenzy. So basically, this is the problem that I found when I took Warriors of Chaos to a tournament. A 2-day tournament. I think I got... What did I get? 2 wins and a draw? Something like that? I can't remember. Or was it 3 wins? Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, Chaos, my list was built last minute, though, because it was like, what the hell models have I got ready? And painted and based. All right, that's my list then, because that's all I got. But it was not an optimised list. But yeah, I mean, this is all pretty good. The problem I found is because I gave everything frenzy, more or less, and you just lost control of everything. Like, there's nothing you can do with it. Like, you just threw stuff into stuff and it either worked or it didn't, you know. Right, so that's that. That's Eric Swanson's list. So commiserations for coming last, but there are definitely some things to improve in this list. Like, you need chosen knights, you know, before... These units of Marauders I won't bother with, to be honest. I mean, they probably look cool on the table, but, like, they're just not very good. You know, even with extra attacks, they've got no AP. They're only strength 3. Like, they're not going to be very good. Right, cool. So that's the Warriors of Chaos did. And then we've got Aaron Vecker, Aaron Joseph, Nicholas Scolari. Oh God, why did you? Thanks, Aaron. This is so easy to read, so user friendly. So he's got a general of the Empire on foot with the white cloak, which is like a ward against fire attacks or something. He's got a captain of the Empire with the BSB. He's got a wizard lord with the earthing rod. He's got an Empire engineer, and he's got another wizard lord on a warhorse with the Ruby Ring of Ruin. So he's got two. So he's got a level 3 wizard. He's got a level 4 wizard. He's got a captain. He's got, which is the BSB. He's got. Did I say engineer as well somewhere? I can't remember. General of the Empire, Captain of the Empire, Wizard Lord, Engineer, Wizard Lord. Yeah. So his core tax. He's got a unit of knights. They're rubbish. 2 units of knights, still rubbish. I don't think this is the whole list, is it? He's got some state. So I don't know what he had on his list. I'm giving up. I'm presuming because he's got an engineer, he's got like some cool stuff at the back end, some artillery stuff. So well done, Aaron. Anyway, for more or less beating the meta and getting that third, you know, because like if we go back to I haven't actually got the that's the editor. But yeah, if you go back to those where the bloody hell do I view site? There it is. So if we go back to this meta and we have a look at this, for instance, Empire, you see getting above 70th percentile is very good. So, you know, 70th percentile here is like probably 4th. So getting here is pretty much above average. So well done, Aaron. You've beat the meta. Aaron Joseph with Beastman Brayherds. He's got a Doom Bull with Monster Slayer, Pelt of the Dark Young, which is like -1. Slug Skin's -1 to hit for him and his unit, and Pelt of the Dark Young. Do you know, I forget what that does. Pelt of the Dark Young is magic items. Pelt of the Dark Young. I said I'd stop doing that. Apologies. +1 armor value. Magic res 2. So that's pretty good. So that means he's got down to what, 5. I don't think it can take an enchanted shield actually, because can it take a shield? I don't know whether it can or not. I could be wrong. It doesn't feel like. Oh no, it can take a shield. Wow. Minotaur champions are so good. Doom Bulls are just great. Like, there's so much utility in them. I mean, this is another reason that I think Beastmen are doing well, because Doom Bulls are fantastic. So yeah, he's got a 5 up, 4 up, 3 up. Does Slug Skin give you armor save as well? Does it? Is that a mutation? Yeah. No, it's just -1 to hit. But then he's got Monster Slayer. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty good. And then he's got a great Bray Shaman, which is on a chariot, level 4 wizard, Hag Tree Fetish, Ruby Ring of Ruin. I mean, this is all pretty good. And a Talisman of Protection to give it a bit of extra, you know, survivability. Then he's got, is that Tuskor Chariot? Yep. And he's got 3 more Tuskor Chariots. He's got some Razor Gores, which a single Razor Gore is, you know, they're pretty nasty as well. There's a lot of stuff that, where is it actually? Where are the Razor Gores in relation to everything else? Razor Gore, here we go, 52 points, you know, move 7, I think they got Swift Stride, yeah. There's D3 impact hits, which is pretty good. It's got Razor Tusks, which I think is impact hits are AP 1 or something like that. Yeah, and it's just an open order It's just open order, so it can redirect charges as well. So because it's not got skirmisher, you have to align to it rather than it aligning to you. So that's pretty awesome. And you just need one of them in a unit. And it's got 3 wounds, you know, toughness 5. It's not going to be easy to get rid of. Like a round of shooting might not even do it. So, yeah, the Razor Gore, he's got 3 of them, which is smart. He's got a Minotaur herd, presumably for the Doom Ball to go in. He's got a Gorgon, which are pretty good. His Dragon Ogres are excellent. So, yeah, that's... and he's got this Gore herd for some reason. Anyway, yeah, but that's a good list. I can see why it's done well. Well done. It's called it Moo. Well done, Aaron, with your Moo. And then we've got a Mortuary Cult. Let me guess, double dragon? No, just one dragon. He's got this Mortuary Priest, which is poisoned attacks to the thing on its unit. So he's presumably got a load of archers. Here we go. So that's 30 skeleton archers with poisoned attacks. He's got some Ushabti with bows, only 4 of them. 2 Tomb Scorpions. Yep, 2 Tomb Scorpions. Necrosphinx, like I said before, because it can fly, so it can march. He's got a Screaming Skull Catapult for some debuffing. He's got a Casket of Souls, presumably for the 6-up ward more than anything, in a massive bubble, which more or less covers the whole army. This one's got a Lore Familiar and Illusion. So with Flail of Skulls, he wants 2d6 hits with a Flail of Skulls, which I think is in the Arcane Journal, but I'll just quickly check in this thing just to make sure it's not here. Flail of Skull. Oh, no, it is here. Yeah, so Strength +3, AP 1, multiple wounds 2, magical attacks. So, you know, Strength +3, Tomb, so that'll be like 7, I think. Oh, idiot. Over here. Character. Next page. Strength 3, so Strength 6, AP 1. I mean, that's not great. It's not amazing. Because what else? Like this would make them those 2d6 hits strength 5 AP 2. I suppose this one does multiple wounds, I guess. And I'm sure the Arcane Journal has something better, doesn't it? I think. Sorry, we've just got to wait another half an hour for the old e-reader to load up because it's on a bloody e-reader format, which I absolutely detest. No, that's just the folder. Why does the e-reader like bloody thing? Right, then we've got to go all the way to about here. Oh, gone too far. 47. Made using this weapon. Any model that's hit by one or more close combat attacks made using this weapon suffers a -1 modifier to its armor value for the remainder of the game. So this is like strength. Yeah, so this one would possibly be better. Because it affects the unit for the rest of the game. So other things attacking it also are. But is that on the dragon or is that? Yeah, so that's on a dragon. So then essentially, if you use the Staff of Aeons, then the target that you've just hit with your High Priest is now -1 armor value for the rest of the game. Which means you've just given your Bone Dragon AP 3 on its claws. Instead of Strength 6 AP 2, it's now Strength 6 AP 3. So you want to do that. You know, hit the thing with your stick because, like you can see, I can't zoom in. It says you'll have to trust me because this e-reader is a bit rubbish. Any model that is hit by one or more close combat attacks made using this weapon suffers a -1 modifier to its armor value for the remainder of the game. So you just have to hit something, -1 armor, and then you cast your 2d6 hits, and then do 2d6 hits with the Necrolith Bone Dragon's profile. Unless they've errated that. I don't think they did. I'll just... No, so they didn't change Spectral Doppelganger. And then if I go to the rule book, of the caster and of any weapon they carry. I suppose it's open to interpretation, is it, whether it means the caster or their mount. I don't know. Well, rules that apply to because of split profile, rules that apply to the rider apply to the mount and vice versa. So the mount's attacks become the caster's attacks, technically, sort of. So maybe, I don't know. I don't know whether that's a good idea or not. Probably not, because it requires debate. Or may require a debate with your opponent. Yeah, cool. And then so this mortuary priest will go in this unit. So they've got like 30 archers with poison attacks, which is really good. And Death Mask of Carnot we're seeing quite a lot on champions, because it just makes that unit terrifying now, which is pretty good. So yeah. Standard Bearer War Banner. This is a pretty decent loadout for a block of skeleton warriors in Khemri, actually. So pretty sensible, pretty decent list. Well done, Nicholas, for actually doing the job. It's all very well and good to have a good list, but actually turning up and winning all the games. And it looks like he's won every single game massively convincingly. This looks like maximum points every single game. It looks like he's just tabled everybody. So he first played Skaven. I'm surprised, actually, that... So Gene Dean, what did Gene Dean... So Gene Dean got some points, okay. So, yeah, he just tabled him. And then he played Hugh Blewett, who had High Elves. No dragon. Yeah, no dragon. So, yeah. I mean, he's got some White Lions. Don't see them very often, but it's probably about the... He's got some Sisters of Avalon, so I wonder how Hugh Blewett did second game. He only got 148 kill points. That's not great. I wonder what his targeting strategy was. And then he played Michael Ford, who ended up... who's got Bretonia. That's not a terrible... he's got that Duke. I mean, you could make it better. Look at other Bretonia lists, but like Gromwell Greathelm, I think you arguably is pretty much a must-take, really. Oh, he's got Elise Ducar, which I've got sat on my desk ready for me to do. Another thing I'm going to do is put a bigger desk in my... I've got a bay window, basically, in my sort of front room / office. So I'm going to put a big sort of desk in there, so that could be my hobby station, so we can do some... live sort of chat and modelling sort of things. But yeah, that doesn't look like a terrible list. So he did quite well. Old Nicholas did quite well to table that, to be fair. But yeah, 2,548. So absolutely smashed it. How the hell did he get 2,548? So it's 19. So 2,548. So he's got 250 points. So he got the Battle Standard Bearer. He captured that. Is there one? Yeah. So he got the Battle Standard Bearer, captured that, so that's 100 points. He killed the General, so that's 200 points. And then ABSB, so 250. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty easy done, actually, isn't it? He's got loads of banners he's got loads of banners that are worth points. Yeah. Did he even table it then? Because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 250 points worth of banners. I always rule it, and I don't know what everybody else does, but I always rule it the Battle Standard Bearer you get 100 victory points for, because you get 50 points for a banner, because it's a banner, and you also get 50 points for the Battle Standard Bearer. So it feels like the BSB should be worth more than a normal, a normal banner. But anyway... Cool. So that's a pretty decent list. I love Elise Ducar. I mean, for Elise, firstly, the model is wonderful. She's actually got a lady's face. And I say this quite a lot about Games Workshop models, but they're really terrible at doing women. Like, they can't do ladies' faces. They tend to do very, very masculine. Like, they tend to go boyish rather than ladylike, which is why for my Sisters of Battle, they've, I think, more or less all got helmets. Yeah, even the champion here has a helmet. What about that one? Yeah, I've, you know, mainly because I'm a fan of pattern, general pattern, and you should always wear a helmet. And I really don't understand why in the 41st millennium people would be taking off their protective headgear. Just makes absolutely no sense. Oh, but it's a bit hot. Yeah. I need to breathe. Do you need to breathe poisoned air rather than the safe filtered air? Oh yeah, good idea. Apart from for space wolves, that's a whole different thing. Anyway, cool. So that's it for today. That's it for. Best not click on my emails and show you all of those before I go, and therefore have to redo the whole video. But anyway, thanks for watching. Again, as usual, it's been a journey. Yeah, that's another thing we need to check up. What is coming over the next? Oh, pardon me. What is coming over the next? We're not in April anymore. We're June the 18th today. So over this weekend, what have we got coming up? We've got these things coming up on Best Coast Pairings. So we've got something in Australia, something in undefined Hungary, somewhere in undefined Spain. Okay, that's probably not the thing. Battle by the Bridge on Saturday, that's June the 22nd, which is on Kingston upon Hull. Oh, I could go to that actually, because my oh no, my knee's busted, so I can't drive. And because I live in a place called Boston, we have no transport links. Like, directions. I'll just show you how rubbish. Your location to Hull. Let's go via public transport. That's what I have to do to get there. So, Jesus Christ. So if I wanted to arrive by Saturday, I want to get there by like probably 8ish, so I've got enough time to get some breakfast, and that's what I have to. Oh, Jesus Christ. So I've got to set off at like 10 o'clock on Friday, get to Boston Station, go to Nottingham, walk to between the two stations in Nottingham. It's about 5 minutes. Then hang about from 11 p.m. to like 1 in the morning. Then take the National Express for a 2-hour trip to Leeds. Jesus. Heck. Can I do this one? Oh, this is arguably even worse. Oh no, that gets into Hull at 11 p.m. on a Friday, and then I've got to find... I guess that's doable, actually. How much are the tickets? Yeah. I mean, that's not... That's... Oh, I might go to that. Because basically my family's away for the weekend. Because my daughter's doing some, like, camping thing. I can't remember whether it's for cadets or D of E or just a school thing or what. But anyway, she's off doing some camping thing. And my wife's taking my son to see the mother-in-law. But they're doing something like Mothersy or something. I can't remember exactly what they're doing, but anyway, they're doing something. So I've got this weekend free, so I could actually do that one. Oh, I wanted to take Lisbon, didn't I? It's a tricky one, that. But that one looks quite cool. Oh, what's the rule pack? It's 2,000 points. I'm getting sold this event. How much is it? It doesn't say. 2,000 points. See event pack for details. And I guess I could get a taxi when I'm there. Oh, right. And then we've got this St Albans. Oh, St Albans. That's basically where my accent's from, because I'm actually from Lincolnshire. Lincolnshire does have its own accent. Half past Bumford. Now then, mate, tits, that kind of stuff. However, so I was born in Lincolnshire. However, my parents moved as quite shortly to St Albans, which is where I went to. Quite a nice middle class posh school, and learnt to speak Queen's English. And then came back to Lincolnshire when I was like 7 or 8, and was immediately ostracised by the locals because I sounded like this. Which they didn't like much. Right. Anyway, so we've got this one. It's probably not going to have a look at that. This one, Road to Nova, so that'll be another 2,500 point one. Nova's a big tournament in America. They're going to do a 2,500 point tournament, so they're doing lots of places doing like warm up games just to see whether 2,500 points, whether you can get that done. I think 2,500 is a. I'm also talking to Dave about setting up a tournament myself later on in the year, so that'll be cool. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm tempted to do a 3K tournament, but I think stick to 2. Or maybe go 250 or something. Just to give people a little bit extra. So, you know, your Empire... Basically, so your Empire players can take 2 Hellblasters and a Steam Tank. That's more or less it. Because I want Empire to be quite competitive. And I think 2K is not a good... Pardon me, it's not a good points limit for them. Whereas those extra 250 actually could make a massive difference for Empire. Whereas for other factions, not so much. Like Britannia, what are you going to do? Take another unit Pegasus Knights? I mean, you know, some of those 2K lists actually could have done with another unit of Peg Knights. Anywhere else? So there's a 5-rounder here, but it doesn't say. This is June the 22nd, so this is this weekend. It doesn't say how many people have entered or whatever. They should really have got all their rosters in. So I don't know what's going on with this one, really. Maybe he's going to sign everybody up on the day as they arrive. Some tournaments do that. Oh no, it's here. Oh, 7 out of 100. Oh, well, that's not very good, is it? Come on, guys. Get over there. You got Trails of the Old World, which is that Dan Buchanan. I think he's Wandering Warlocks. This takes place in 97 Mary Street. 1,500 points, 3 rounds. Oh, this is the one, Sheffield, is it? It's a smaller event. It's got 2,000 points on here, but it says 1,500 here. I don't know what it is. But anyway, yeah, Dan Buchanan, lovely chap, really good at running tournaments, so that'll be a load of fun. And there's some other smaller stuff. So, you know, get down to these. Get over to this one. Make it 10 people. Then I'll cover it. Cool. So that's all the stuff on Best Coast Pairings, and then New Recruit. I think there is actually some stuff on New Recruit this weekend. I actually quite like New Recruit now. I've learned how to use it. It's arguably better for like data purposes because you can download stuff in spreadsheets. Anyway, so we've got Torneo Simon France in Club Ludico Legio Capitolina, which is in Roma. Roma was my soccer team when I was younger, because Football Italia was pretty much the only sport that you could get on terrestrial TV, so I used to watch that every Sunday. And Roma were my favourite team, mainly because of Totti. I tend to follow players and then support the team that the players, you know, play for. So, like, I like Roma because of Totti. I like Man United because of Giggs. I like Giggs, so therefore I like Man United. I like Francesco Totti, so I liked Roma. You know, I like Joe Marler, so I like Harlequins, rugby. So, you know. There's this one on the 28th, which is Possibly next weekend. Newark Catholic School, Catholic High School, that's a team tournament. So we'll look at some lists, but I can't use the data. Team tournaments, you just can't use data. It's a different environment. The way that team games are set up, so lists are more extreme at team tournaments, because quite a bit of the game is in the matching up who's going to play who from your team against their team. So there's like a mini game that decides what the team result is going to be, more or less. So lists tend to be a bit more extreme, and you don't tend to see lists like you would. You don't see balanced lists very often. And then on the 29th, which is 23rd, 22nd this weekend, this Tuesday, so for 22nd, yeah, so 22nd this weekend, so these are next weekend. But anyway, there's this one, Torneo Simon France, TSF, which is, it's only €10. Absolutely, great. So I've got some translation work to do. Total victory points, and then strength of schedule. That's how they're going to do it. So yeah, that looks quite interesting. None of the data's in there yet. Oh, we have got some players. So do I recognise any of those names? Oh, they're all quite similar. Mirko, that name rings a bell. Nope. It shouldn't do, because he's his first one. He could have, I don't know, he could have been. Anyway, I'm going to start raffling. I'm going to start number 17. I'm going to start rambling on now and say toodaloo. Painkillers are starting to wear off, so I need to go and sort myself out again. I've got to take the kids and everybody over to the Lincolnshire show tomorrow, which involves 2 hours of driving and probably several hours of sitting in a deck chair in quite a bit of pain. And then hopefully we can get back. I can get back for 3 because I've got an online meet. So tomorrow's a bit of a nightmare. But anyway, I hope you found this enjoyable or useful or whatever. Or, if you've got to this point, like and subscribe, because you probably should if you got to this stage. I'm feeling more grumpy today and less kind of effervescent. Mainly because I've had a few weeks off with this flaming knee, and there's so much I wanted to get done over the last few weeks that I've just not been able to do. It's really, really irritating. Anyway, check out the other videos. Actually, I've got some tier maker stuff that I've started making. I've done monstrous mounts and I've done cavalry. They're out Tuesday and Thursday this week. And then I'm going to move through other bits and pieces like heavy infantry, light cavalry, chariots, standalone monsters, war machines, I think are the categories I'm going to go for. So stay tuned for whether I put steam tanks in as a chariot or a war machine. That's going to cause a row. Anyway, toodaloo.